Okay, this is Free to Being podcast. It's a space where we explore what it truly means to heal and to grow and to be fully ourselves. This podcast is about expression, really. It's
Yeah.
about creativity. It's about the courage to show up just as you are. But it's about mental well-being, not just through medicine, but through movement, creativity, identity, and most times connection, because healing and connection are kind of what we really need instead of trying to alter certain chemicals in our heads.
Yeah.
And sometimes today I'm just going to be joined by Abimbola, someone who helps people heal through crafts and creative expression. She has worked with individuals before and groups using hands-on creativity as a powerful tool for emotional expression and grounding.
Mhm.
She uses different ideas, and I've known her for quite a while now. And I said, why not come on Free to Being podcast? Let's have a chat on what really art therapy is. Welcome to Free to Being, and thank you very much for showing up, Abby.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be in this space, and it's a pleasure to see the journey that Free to Be has been on and where you are now. And yeah, I'm glad to have witnessed it.
Yes,
Tell
please.
your listeners.
That's why just introduce
Okay.
yourself to the listeners. Let's get to know you.
Okay. So my name is Abimbola. Most people call me Abby. Either is fine. I work with tactile methods. So when we talk about tactile methods, that's doing things with your hands. And there are so many studies that show the benefits to our well-being when we work with our hands. I specifically do a lot of things related to the hands. So that could be craft, art, making, building, Lego work, all of that. And we use it not to create art per se, but we mostly use it as a form of expression. So I'm a expressive arts facilitator as well as a Lego series play practitioner as well. And I make sure that people are expressing things through building, creating, making, and with their hands. We also do some work with like clay as well and modeling clay and all of that. So anything really that you can build, make, craft, mold with your hands. And most people think when you hear that, oh, are you an artist? No, I'm not an artist.
Mm.
I appreciate art, but I don't necessarily create for, to make a piece. I create as a mode of expression. And
Mm.
that's what our sessions hold. And a lot of the time when we're going through a season in life, we think sometimes expressing, and people are different. Some people prefer to express with words, but a lot of us actually express while doing things. And it's easier to manage those emotions while we create and make. And then we find a home for those emotions in what we're making and creating. And then we decide what to do with it next. So that's a little bit about the work that I do. I founded a community interest space called In Every Season about 6 or 7 years ago. And last year, we officially became a CIC. So we run programs to help families and individuals with creative well-being support that's non-clinical for just unplanned seasons of our life. And we are all going through various seasons.
Yeah.
And it could be grief, it could be change, it could be loss, it could be, just a lack of hope or anything. We help individuals and families navigate using tactile and expressive methods. So I've said a lot, actually.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Abby, for that introduction. And for someone listening who has never considered craft or tactile expression
Yeah.
in past, um, what really happens when we create with our hands? Could you just explain what happens? How
Yeah.
is this? How is this expressive? How does this help our well-being?
I mean, a lot of the time, so there's a science answer, which I'm not going to give today, but
Okay.
I'll give the simpler answer. A lot of the time, and you being a doctor will know all of this stuff, but
Mhm.
a lot of the time we have our emotions and they get stored up somewhere within. And we can express them by talking, but oftentimes that is quite difficult. And sometimes we can express them through making. And actually, a lot of our processing happens in 3D. And so not just talking, writing, but actually creating a thing in 3D that links back to how we feel. So most times in my workshop, so I'll give you an example. Most times in my workshop, I'll ask people to build something or make something or create something. I'll give a prompt. It could be, how are you feeling today? Just create this based on how you're feeling today. And a lot of people will say, oh, this is nothing. I don't know why I did this. Don't know why I did that. But actually, the reality is everything is significant. There's nothing that is insignificant. So the color that you chose, the shape that you created, the squiggle that you did on the bit of paper, the piece of Lego that you built that wasn't straight, it all represents something. And when we take enough time to actually pause and ask what we're creating or look at the piece of paper and say, actually, what does that mean for me? It's like you're holding a reflection back to yourself to ask those
Mm,
questions. And it's easier to talk about a picture or a model than it is to really talk about ourselves. So it helps us express in a way that's direct but indirect at the same time and
mm.
helps us gain insight. So I hope I've explained that well.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you were saying that some people say, "What have I done? What have I
Mhm.
created?" And you look back and you can see that it's a reflection of what's those internal silhouettes, those
Yeah.
internal emotions going in. While I was preparing for this podcast, I saw a research. It shows that you don't have to be good at arts or crafts to really benefit from the therapeutic
Aspects of it.
benefits of arts and crafts. He said,
Mhm.
your as long as your body will still respond no matter your level of creativity. And this research, it said that 45 minutes of creative activity significantly reduce cortisol. And
Mhm.
cortisol is one of those stress hormones in the body that gives you a flight or fight kind of expression. And
Mhm.
it was quite interesting to know that 75% of participants who did not even know how to do any tactile arts
Mhm.
actually demonstrated reduction of cortisol.
100%. And that's why I said this is a science answer, and that is like the data. When you get into it, it does reduce your cortisol and it reduces your stress, anxiety just by putting your hands to do something. But again, you don't have to be good at art. If you can write your name, you're ready at master pro level at expression,
Wow.
right? If you can
Wow, that's
write
great.
your name, that's all you need. That's for drawing. And if for any reason you can't write your name, if you can put Lego bricks together, if you can build something, that's all you need. So it's not about, and a lot of the work that I do is based on metaphor, right? And so what you're creating doesn't have to actually look like what you want it to. It's the meaning and the story behind it, right? So I can say that, I could have a pencil or whatever, and I can bring about story that expresses how I feel through that pencil. So it's not really about your art ability at all. You need zero art ability for any of my sessions. All you need to do is just to be able to be ready, present, and show up.
Oh,
That's all. So, and I think oftentimes that is the most expressive art. Because when you think of art in other ways where you're drawing something or you really want to get something right or you're painting, it is therapeutic as well. But there is sort of an end goal of what you want to do. But when you're using it just purely expressive in that therapeutic sense, you could, if you take anger, for example, you could be so angry and you can put that on the piece of paper or you can put that on the painting or you could build that in the Lego, and then you can decide to break it, and that's
oh my
gone.
God.
And that's the powerful work. Or you can decide
Okay.
this this paper that I've drawn with all my anger in it, I'm going to rip it up, and that's the end of it.
Okay.
And it
That's
helps take
interesting.
those feelings from within and in you to outside of you, so you can process that landscape, and then you can decide what to do with it.
Wow, that's really good. You know, when we talk about art, I always just think about paint brushes and
Yeah.
the
Canvas, the
canvas and just
traditional, yeah,
wearing a cap like a French and putting something
and
just
paint everywhere.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yes,
that
so
masterpiece.
I also, sometimes I see some weird things on Instagram. You see some people around someone that is doing expressive art, and all the person does is just pause paint. I
Basically,
just pause paint on canvas and say, and everybody starts clapping. I'm like, what's going on? So
yeah.
could you just tell us what are the range of arts and crafts things that you do? I know you mentioned Lego, but
Yeah. So arts and crafts. So in our workshops, we do Lego workshops. Lego is fantastic because we don't build to instruction. And when I say build to instruction, we don't have a manual that says, okay, follow this instruction to build. I ask you a question, you build. If you don't know what to build, I'll just ask you to just start building and it will come to you. And you build and you tell a story about it. So that's part of the Lego work that I do. We also use clay as well. So like modeling clay. But again, like you said, when you go to Instagram, you look at the, pottery making and all of that. And I love pottery making, by the way, but that's not what we do essentially in our sessions for beauty as of yet. We make, things that are representing it, whether it's a story or a challenge or a particular element of our lives. And there's no instructions to it. Obviously, we get the basics of how to use the material, but then you go ahead and do that. We use flowers in our workshop. So last year we did flower arranging. And again, there's a particular kind of, okay, to get flowers pretty, you need to do this and put this on this side and it needs to balance. We don't do that. We create an environment where we're like, okay, these are the flowers. This is how you're to create an arrangement, but it's completely up to you. Just gravitate to what feels good, what reminds you of, a season in your life that you want to replicate through these flowers. We use coloring, crayons. I love using crayons with adults because it just sounds so counterintuitive. Like you think crayons are for toddlers or for little kids, but like when you see an adult coloring with crayons, there's something about it. And then we do the odd times painting. So those are some means that we currently use, but we're also diversifying our offerings as well. Recently, we've had a movement session just like yours,
Okay.
where we stepped into the new year and shook off all the things from last year that we didn't want to take into this year. So we had an hour of free movement online in just preparation to the new year and towards our goals and what we wanted to do and stuff. So yeah, it's a range and it's a spectrum, and again, it's expressive and there's no formula to that. There's no right or wrong. And that's the thing that I love about it. You can't
Mhm.
get it wrong because it's your expression.
I love what you said about crayons because sometimes I take my children to like McDonald's and they have this paper there and they have some crayons and I see I see the younger ones just taking the paper and just do. I'm like, color within the range. Come on, don't you understand? But when they start listening to me to color, it's not. They don't feel fun. It doesn't feel fun
Mm,
any longer.
mm, mm,
But when
mm.
they just do, they are. You understand? So I just wanted to ask. You can see that creativity, even though it's not formed in
Yeah,
children, they
yeah,
express creativity, but it seems to like dwindle or we lose it as we grow
yeah,
older. Um,
yeah,
how can we reclaim it? You understand? Because a lot. Okay, this is my own theory. Let me just my theory is
yeah,
that as we grow older, we kind of judge ourselves more, and we
yeah,
think that what we are producing should be perfect. So when
yeah,
we don't kind of get it, we just forget it. I'm not good at arts and just forget
yeah,
about
yeah,
it. Then only people that becomes artists or do creative things with their hands are the people that are really good at it. So all the others just say, forget it, I'm not it. But a child will not really mind. It just cause you understand. So I'm thinking that kind of judgment of one's self gradually, that's what I see as its mainstay of mental health. You understand?
yeah,
When you are always judging you're saying that I'm not good enough, I'm not handsome enough, I look
Mhm,
somehow, and no other person is saying it. You are all saying it in your mind. The
mhm,
critical set, you are the one judging yourself. And I
mhm.
can see a parallel between that and expressing your creativity. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, you said it all in that. It's the inner critic that speaks and keeps speaking, and that voice gets louder and louder to let us know that we can't do this. When you're children, you don't know what you can do or you can't do. You don't know what it's supposed to look like. Your art looks fantastic to you because you did this. And you're like, wow, mommy and daddy, look at this. And they're like,
Yeah,
oh, it's amazing. You're an artist. Like,
sometimes
and when we
timid,
grow
timid.
older, we have the inner critic, we compare with others. And sometimes even things like school does that, or, parents sometimes unknowingly, I've done it too, where we ask them to, color in the lines and stay within the boundaries. And in my house, actually, I don't buy coloring books anymore. I just buy plain paper. And the reason for that is, yes, it's good to have boundaries and color within the lines, but then it means that I've noticed in the psyche of children, it means that they begin to color the thing in the way they think it's supposed to look. Whereas if you give them a free page, they have free reign of what they create in that. And that is such a powerful gift to have, to be able to do that. So with adults, sometimes with just life, education, all of that, there's a particular standard that we're working to. And if we're not working to that standard, we're comparing ourselves with others. And that's the place that the critic lives and loves, where it can say, well, this person is better than you at this, or your work is not like that, or you could never do that. But the reality is, if you keep practicing, you get better. And who is the determinant of what is good art, right? Art could be anything. So I think there's so many things to play in that. But I think as adults, what I particularly love is going back and seeing adults play like children. And I
Mm,
think sometimes where we've missed out on that, or when we've been shy, or someone's criticized us, or we've criticized ourselves, we often like freeze in that mold. So for example, in some of my drawing, when it comes to people, I noticed that at a certain point, the only kind of people that I would draw, maybe stick people or whatever, and it was frozen at a certain point of time of when I was drawing as a younger person, because maybe I thought or felt that I couldn't draw people properly. So that element didn't progress. So when I draw people, well, some people, it was still that child
the
kind
same.
of
Yeah.
drawing,
Mm,
until till now. Like, I generally don't draw people. I draw shapes and colors and things like that. That feels comfortable with me. But
yeah.
like, people can still be a challenge for me to draw. And
Mm,
that's linked back to a certain area of my life and just not going further
past.
than thinking, oh, I can draw this. So it affects us in many ways. But I think also just the knowing of yourself. And even in that, there's two things I can do. I can learn to draw people, which I am trying to do, but also I can be like, but I love drawing shapes. I love the freedom of just
Yeah.
going like this and making it beautiful. I love that. It means that I'm mindlessly creating. And, when my kids see me do that sometimes, they're like, oh, mum, that's really nice. And I'm like, is it? Like, it's a squiggle in colors, but like, for me, it's expressive. So there's two things. I guess it's learning what you like and what you gravitate to, but also just reclaiming some of that childlikeness. And I mean, it's very hard to say, shut off that inner critic. It doesn't matter. But what I would say is just see it as an expressive exercise. So it doesn't have to be art for a gallery or art to show anybody. It's your expressive exercise to do that. And just
Mm.
keep practicing that until you find your style, or, until you're more confident in, well, it's a scribble and it can literally be a scribble. But if it means something to you, or if it represents something, then that's all you need. It's art.
So just listening to what you're saying, it's showing me that creativity and tactile art can make people reconnect to who they truly are.
Yeah.
Like finding that time where the creativity stopped
Yeah.
and just going back there and trying to bring yourself out of whatever stopped the creativity.
Yeah.
Wow, that
Giving yourself permission to
mm,
be creative. A lot of people say, "I'm not creative." I don't believe that. It's like what I said with art. If you can draw your name, if you can do a squiggle or draw your name, you're creative. We're all just creative, either in different ways or we've practiced different types of creativity, and it means we're just more comfortable in it. If you can't draw or anything, more than likely you haven't practiced a lot of it. So all of this, and then again, the question is, what is the standard? What means I can't draw? What is bad? What is good? And I guess just finding what is, and if this is my style of putting pen to paper or building Lego or whatever, then that's it. So I guess that goes back to just giving yourself permission to be free.
yes, to be free to be. Yes, that's quite good. So if someone is listening today, just to kind of round up, I know you have somewhere to go.
Mm.
Thank you. So if someone is listening right now and feels overwhelmed today,
Yeah.
what simple creative practice like could they do? Like practically, could they start to do tonight? That's
This very moment, I would say what they could do is take a moment, find a quiet space, take a moment. I know sometimes for parents, they might not be able to find a quiet space, but even if it's your bathroom, take that quiet
okay.
space. I mean, that's one of the lockable places in the house, right? Take that quiet space and take something that you could build with. So it could be Lego, it could be building blocks. I've had a session where a lady brought, was it marshmallows? And she like stacked them on top of one another. So
Okay.
take something that you can build with and just really ask yourself, how are you feeling today? And if it's overwhelmed, like you said, just say, I'm feeling overwhelmed because, and then just start building something or making something. And once you've finished making and creating that thing, I guess take a look at it and look at it from all angles to see, okay, what does this thing mean? The hope is that as you're building, it might be that I'm overwhelmed because I've had such a busy day. I haven't had time for myself. I haven't had this, and you're building those elements on. And then once you've done that, I guess you can decide what you either want to do with it. Do you want to take a breath and go back into that world right now? Do you want to take another moment and do another creative task? Or do you want to tackle some of those things that are making you feel overwhelmed? I guess for the most part, it's the realization that everything is your choice to do and just taking that breather to do that. I have on the In Every Season .co.uk website, I have some free downloadable resources for overwhelmed days
Okay.
and for days where you need to find some grounding or exercises that you can do, creative exercises that you can do with your family members. So yeah, just go onto our website and look for the resources, and there's
I'll
some
put
free downloadable stuff there. So
I'll,
you can
I'll
do that
put
by yourself or
I'll
you
put the
can do that
link
with your family.
in this um Instagram comments. Yeah. While we're talking, I just did this. I don't know.
You did. Let me
I,
see.
I just said let me just express myself while you were talking. I just did it. I don't know why I did it. I don't know what it is, but I'm just happy doing it. That's all.
Yeah. How did it feel to not color within the lines and not like it had to be something? How did it feel?
I just felt so what happened as you were talking, I was thinking that I don't really know how to draw someone. And then I just said, let me just do some eight figures and
Mhm.
something and just make it look cool. I don't know, but it looks very cool to me. I think I'm going to frame this.
Yeah, yeah. I can see your smile, how proud you are of yourself for
Yeah,
actually putting something to paper.
actually
So there
feels
you
good.
go. Your own personal art.
Yeah, I'm going to frame it. I'm going to put it somewhere here. uh, in my office with my wonderful piece of art. So yeah, that's quite good. There was another research I saw
Mhm.
by the Mayo Clinic, which is one of the big clinics in America. Said
Yeah.
older adults who were engaged in artistic activities like painting, crafting, and sculpting had a 30 to 50% lower risk of developing cognitive impairments. So cognitive impairment is a
Yeah.
range between just losing your memory due to age and also
Hmm.
dementia, which is the
Hmm.
last part of it. So
Hmm.
that craft activities actually were protective in preserving the brain. So it's not
Hmm.
just about expression, but really it's also about making the brain work so that it
Hmm.
can work for longer.
Absolutely. So, on one side of I do a lot of work with businesses and organizations too, as part of, so I'm a serial social entrepreneur. So I have a few entrepreneurish ventures that I'm in at the moment. And one of the companies that I've also co-founded, we use play for adults within the workplace for productivity. So not just for well-being, but for productivity. And I have a colleague who uses Lego play for adults and families who are suffering with dementia. And she's told me that there's some sessions where families come with an older relative and their older relative may be nonverbal and they have a lot of memory loss, etc. And then they work in sessions and they build and they do some Lego. And the relative starts talking and sharing
Wow.
stories. When she told me initially, I was blown away and moved to tears. She started, her name is Loretta. She started doing it when her mum had dementia with her and her mum because they used to do Lego together. But then she helps other families as well. And the stories that she has, just amazing. And that hand to brain connection, it is so good for us, for well-being, for productivity, and also for health as well, like the health of our brain. Um, it's just amazing. So if anybody's a little bit interested in it, go and research some stories, go and research the benefits of of working with your hands and even just how it improves and helps your brain. You will be blown away.
Thank you very much. And that's the final question before we call it a day. If you could leave one message, just one message for someone who feels emotionally stuck right now, what would it be?
If I could leave one message, I would say, one, you're not alone. I guess find community, but also I would say find something to create and put some of that energy in there. Find a community as well that you can create with. What's better than creating? Finding a community that you can create with, right? And oftentimes when we make things, especially again with our hands, with that tactile play, we're building new pathways in our mind as well. And that helps us solve problems and it helps us bring about new solutions, but also it brings down your cortisol level and your stress. So I would say make something and then find a community that you can continue to make some things with.
Wow. Thank you so much, Abi Olajide, for joining me on this podcast. It's been very, very enlightening. And of course, I've been able to draw my. I'm so happy and so excited with that. So thank you so much. And thank you very much for coming around. Really, really, really appreciate it. It was a very wonderful discussion. I didn't know I was going to go, but really, I think it's
It's always that way. It's always that way.
so. Just to end, we finish every free to be podcast with a little dance.
Okay.
So
You
I
didn't
know that we are
warn
on
me,
Zoom.
but I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let it out, let it flow, shake the weight from your soul. Feel the beat, feel the breeze, come alive, be at ease. No rules, no fear, just you, just me.